stomp in the dirt and excuse us. Better run or get hurt. Fossils get made where footprints have stayed. Sorry if we seem a little curt.
The year was 1806 in Montague, Massachusetts, and a baby boy was born.
Joshua!
Yes, come in, dear.
Joshua, bring the baby.
Yes, dear. Come to Mama. Come to Mama.
Dexter was the son of Joshua and Minwell Crosby Marsh. The Marsh family did not have a lot of money, and so as he grew up, he had to work most of the time, instead of going to school.
No, I just left mine at the school.
Dexter, aren't you coming to school? I got chores to do.
I'd rather do chores than go to school.
But how are you supposed to become smart if you don't go to school?
I don't know. Maybe I'm already smart.
That's debatable.
Can't you do chores after school? There's just too many. Well, maybe we can help. I'll ask my parents. Okay. Come on, guys. We're gonna be late.
Bye, Dexter.
Have
fun doing your chores.
I always thought that kid was weird.
Yeah, thanks.
Dexter only went to school in the winter when there wasn't other work he could do. When he was 8, he stood on a block to yoke oxen because he wasn't tall enough.
Yeah! Whoa!
In 1832, at the age of 26, he moved to Greenfield, where he paid $1.50 a week for boarding while doing all kinds of things, like
Shoveling.
Gardening.
Picking apples. Sawing.
Working at Second Congregational Church. Working at Town Hall. Not there anymore.
and quarrying, which means digging up stone with tools and
Gunpowder.
and oxen or horses to pull the stone where you wanted it to go after you had cut out a big piece. And one day, about a year after Dexter Marsh had gotten married to Rebecca Slate, and built his house not too far from where the train station is now in Greenfield, Dexter was laying stone down for the sidewalk outside of Town Hall, which was on the other side of the square from where it is now. And he looked at the stone and saw
Tracks!
tracks. Tracks that looked something like turkeys or birds. And he wondered,
How did they become imprinted on stone several feet below the ground? Excuse me, sir, would you like to look at something a bit odd? These are bird tracks.
Of course they are, Mr. Marsh.
I've always thought that meant a bit odd.
Yes, dear.
Dexter kept trying.
Excuse me, would you like to see something a bit unusual? These are bird tracks.
But how do you suppose a bird's foot became so heavy?
No, you don't understand. You can see how the left and right foot parallel each other. Even the wrinkles in the beast's skin. Better run in case it returns.
Well, I hope that beast doesn't decide to eat us.
Eat us.
But there was one man who didn't laugh at him. Dr. James Dean of Greenfield.
I don't know quite how they came to be there, but what I do know is he's one of the most remarkable things I've ever seen. Remarkable indeed. We need to tell Dr. Hitchcock about this. I agree.
Dr. Dean took a plaster cast of the strange tracks in stone and sent the cast to Edward Hitchcock, professor of geology at Amherst College and Massachusetts' first state geologist. He was married to Ora White Hitchcock, who illustrated his geology books with beautiful illustrations while also pursuing her own interests as an artist, naturalist, and scientist.
Something rather large has arrived for you.
Okay.
May I?
Yes, dear. Thank you, dear. With much regards, dear. Ah, from Dr. Dean. Thought you would be interested in these tracks discovered in Flagstone from the Connecticut by Turner's Falls. Appear to be some kind of large turkey. Sincerely, Dr. Dean. But I've never...
Never what, dear?
These tracks must be very, very, very,
Very what, dear?
very old. What are you doing, dear?
We're going to Greenfield to see the real thing.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
What? Oh, dang it! All right. Now let's go.
Put it on the wrong way.
Sorry. Now.
Meanwhile, Dexter was discovering more tracks in Flagstone around Greenfield that had been hiding in plain sight for years.
Welcome, Professor and Mrs. Hitchcock. Please meet Dexter Marsh, who happened upon these tracks while laying stone. It's an honor, ma'am, sir.
As I thought, these are tracks of some type of bird.
How old do you think they might be?
This flagstone is perhaps
Perhaps what?
from the Jurassic period.
Oh, God. So some species of giant bird lived here.
Presumably with all kinds of
Other creatures!
We're not alone, not alone, not alone with our horses and chickens and bears. We're not alone, not alone, not alone with the wolves and our cats and cares. There used to be somewhere flying free.
Surely they couldn't fly.
Right, sir. Giant birds of Greenfield, giant birds downtown. Giant birds with giant feet lurking all around, with wings like sails and tree-like tails and eyes like plates. I wonder what they ate. and beaks like bananas or brooms or boats. Not that big. Giant birds in Greenfield, giant birds downtown. Giant birds with giant friends making giant sounds. Giant birds in Greenfield, giant birds downtown. Giant birds with giant bodies weighing lots of pounds, with eyes like trays and a prehistoric gaze, watching all their predators better close all the doors, 'cause we're not alone, not alone, not alone with our snakes and sparrows and sows. We're not alone, not alone, not alone with the squirrels and spiders and cows. There used to be somewhere walking free. What if they could fly? Giant birds of Greenfield, giant birds downtown. Giant birds with giant talons scratching at the ground. Giant birds of Greenfield, giant birds downtown. Giant birds of Greenfield living all around. The truth astounds, the proof abounds, up and down, all around our town.
In my room?
Dr. Hitchcock purchased some of Dexter Marsh's slabs of stone and took them back to Amherst, where he studied them very carefully and then published scientific papers which caused quite a bit of excitement in places like London.
Bird-like.
Prince. Blimey. Double blimey.
Stone? Fossils are shocking. Jurassic.
Massachusetts? Hitchcock?
One of Hitchcock's readers over in England was Sir Richard Owen, who 7 years later would invent the word dinosaur.
You see, what I'll do is I'll take the Greek word dinos, which means horrible, and take another Greek word saurus, which means lizard. And you'll see, what I'll do is I'll mash them up together and you get dinosaur, or terribly fearful lizard. And that seems quite right from the fossils that I've been finding.
Quite
Right.
Dexter Marsh read Dr. Hitchcock's papers and began reading other books about geology to understand more about the tracks he had discovered. And then he began traveling up and down the Connecticut River to look for more fossils. Sometimes he would spend several days or even a week going from spot to spot in his boat. In the morning, Dexter would walk down to the shore and start his day. Maybe there were even some animals who wondered what this strange human seemed so happy about standing by the Connecticut in the dark. While other scientists might have been a little bit more comfortable waking up in their warm beds, Mr. Marsh felt he was the lucky one.
I'm the world's most luckiest man. Lucky man, lucky man. Like to do whatever I can. What he can to discover the stories of the past. Some things fade while some things last. Everything else is gone, but these fossils stay on. When I think about the millions and millions of years these fossils have been lying here, fills me with joyous awe. Now let's take a pause and let the old crows caw. Caw, caw, caw. In the meantime, they've made him the world's most luckiest man. Lucky man, lucky lucky man, like to do whatever I can. What he can, to discover the stories of the past. Some things fade while some things last. Everything else is gone, but these fossils stand. I look for the seam in the rock. If only these rocks could talk, they'd have ages and ages to say about those who came and those who limped away. Hey! So hurry up, you lazy sun, lazy sun, lazy sun. Let all this darkness be done. Dark be done, dark be done. Give me 14 hours a day, searching in the water, rock, mud, and clay. Everything else is gone, but these fossils stand. Yeah, I'm the world's most luckiest man. Lucky man, like to do whatever I can. What he can, to discover the stories of the past. Some things fade while some things last. Everything else is gone, but these fossils stand. Everything else is gone, but these fossils stand. Some things just know how to last, except this rock.
Kaboom! Marsh spent the next 10 years finding fossilized prints while continuing to work as a handyman and custodian. In 1838, his wife Rebecca died, leaving him 2 young children to take care of. The next year, he married Eunice Everett from Vermont. He sold some of his finds to Dean and Hitchcock, donated others to museums, and kept some for his growing collection. Even though he was their main supplier of fossils, Hitchcock and Dean did not mention Marsh in their scientific papers until 1845, 10 years after that day of discovery in Greenfield. Instead, they were fighting between themselves about who should get credit.
I'm the one who understands their classification.
But I'm the one who made the discovery. If I hadn't sent them to you...
But I'm the one that knew what they were.
Well, we still can't say for sure because these are just tracks. The public wants both.
Bone schmones.
Bone schmones, you.
Bone schmones me. Bone schmones you.
Me.
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 You.
Me. Hello?
What?
Who really discovered the tracks? What?
Marsh was not a candidate for being credited with a major scientific discovery. He was a common man, or, as the minister at his church, Lorenzo Langstreth, called him, a very uncommon man, of great force and originality, one of the strongest thinkers and closest reasoners with whom I ever became conversant. Langstreth invented the modern-day beehive and came to know Marsh when he hired him as a gardener. Eventually, Dean and Hitchcock started mentioning Marsh in their papers, and eventually people began to come visit to see what all the fuss was about. And they met Mr. Marsh, who showed them what he had found, and sometimes even sent them casts or prints. And sometimes Dexter sent people fossils who hadn't even asked for them, like the Emperor of Russia.
I don't know. It looks like old rocks.
But we have old rocks here.
So I send it back. Help me with this.
Hitchcock even named a set of dinosaur tracks after him. Herpestosum marshi, which means Marsh's creeping animal, because by now Marsh had also found prints of creatures with 4 legs.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
Marsh's collection was growing so large he decided to build a museum or cabinet onto his house to put everything in, and in 1846 people began coming to visit from all over the world. Some of them were famous and some not. In 1848, Marsh sent his own description of his findings to the American Journal of Science, where it was published verbatim, which means just as he wrote it. I succeeded in obtaining 200 or 300 footprints of various birds and quadrupeds, many of them entirely new. I only forward you a sketch of the footprints of one of the quadrupeds. You will see that it is a walking, not a leaping animal. The forefeet are very small in proportion to the hind toes. The toes are very slim and tapering, terminating in a point, with a sharp claw which is very distinct. The toes are spread wide and curve outward very much, which is not the case with any of those I have heretofore obtained. In 1852, I was very grateful to be elected to membership in the Lyceum of Natural History of New York, and made a corresponding member of the Academy of Natural Sciences in Philadelphia. I am also a member of the Boston Society of Natural History, which will later become the Museum of Science. Although we can't know for sure, there might have been groups of school children who visited Dexter Marsh's Cabinet of Wonders even after he became ill and could no longer search for new fossils.
All right, children. Seeing that the weather is fine today, we are going to take a little trip downtown.
Yay!
Wait, where are we going?
You'll see.
Are we gonna come back at the end of the day?
Yes, so you can all leave your slates here.
Can you please tell us where we're going now?
Well, have any of you ever visited Mr. Marsh's Cabinet of Wonders?
I have.
And what did you think?
It was, well, interesting.
Just interesting?
Well, Mr. Marsh wasn't there, so I didn't know what all the things were.
Well, I happen to know that he is going to be there today, so he will be able to explain everything to us.
Yay!
All right, follow me.
My mom took me to Mount Greylock, and on the way home, they got me a fancy new dress.
Good for you. You may have jewels, but I have friends.
Now, class, please remember to be on your best behavior today. We are here to learn about giant birds, not act like them.
Yes, Miss Gibbons.
Good morning, Ms. Gibbons.
Good day, sir.
Good morning, children.
Good day, sir.
Well, would you like to see my little museum?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we Well, why don't we start with some slabs I have outside first? Come this way. Now, if you look closely at this slab, you see scattered across it are what?
Tracks?
Yes, tracks of what?
A dog?
Look more closely.
An ostrich?
Where did you learn about the ostrich?
Well, my parents gave me a book on Australia.
And how large do you think an ostrich becomes?
About 9 feet.
Yes. And how much do you think they might weigh?
I'm not sure.
They can weigh close to 300 pounds. But if we look at this track, we see that it's about 16 inches long, which suggests that it belonged to a bird that weighed close to 1,000 pounds.
You mean a giant ostrich, sir?
No, I mean an Ornithicnete giganteus.
What?
Ornithicnete giganteus, a kind of giant bird that lived here long, long ago.
What did it look like?
You'll have to use your imagination. And you, children, will have to be the ones that go out and find all the fossils in this valley that I won't be able to find. Do you know what my fondest wish is? That the town of Greenfield would purchase for a modest sum my entire collection and create a permanent place where young and old can come and learn about Greenfield's past and the past of our planet. What I'd really love is for Greenfield to create its own fossil museum.
Wouldn't that be nice? Right here in Greenfield. And excuse us.
Yeah, I was getting there.
The one who made the discovery. If I had sent that to you.
Sorry if we seem a
Stop
little
your hours.
curt. Well, excuse
What?
us if we chase you around.
I forget.
Excuse us
Blimey.
for shaking the ground. We try to creep quiet, but we don't like to
But
die.
tracks
We can
of
wait
what?
30,000
A dog?
A bird?
A bird?
Egg salad sandwich?
An ostrich.
Line.
Good morning, Miss Gibbons.
Good day, sir.
Good morning, children. Well, would you like
So excuse us, this is how we were born. And excuse us, I'm already we're torn. We're not very smart, but we have warm-blooded hearts. Some of us have horns. Excuse us if we don't use a napkin, and excuse us, we're too busy snacking. No time to wax our scales, brush our teeth, or paint our nails. Mirrors on our